This is Long Shots, VSiN's premier golf betting podcast. Here's Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, and Kelly Bidlin.
It is Long Shots Golf Betting Podcast. I am Matt Brown. That is Kelly Bidlin. That is Wes Reynolds. Glad to be back with you guys after the major that, wow, that was something else over there. So we will certainly recap that, but spent the week at Big Cedar Lodge in Missouri doing some golfing, and it was 100 degrees in Missouri. I don't know if it normally gets to 100 degrees in Missouri. I'm not from there. Wes, you could probably help me out a little bit better with all of that, but I'll tell you what, people say stuff about our 110, 115. I will take 115 all day here over 100 in Missouri. Like that, I actually felt heat, and you guys know heat doesn't bother me, but that was some shit, I'll tell you.
Misery in Missouri.
Yes.
Or were you in Missouri? Because
yeah,
there's two different states, in Missouri.
Yeah, it was depending on who I was talking to. That is for sure as to where I was, but did Paynes Valley Tigers course there, and a couple other good courses in that new par 3 that's called Cliffhangers there, which I highly, highly, highly recommend if you can make it there to play that. That is a par 3 course unlike any other you will play in your entire life. You have to sign a waiver to actually play the par 3 course. It is built on the side of cliffs and stuff. It's called Cliffhangers. It's built on the side of cliffs, and like if you are not paying attention in your golf cart, you will die. Like you will definitely die. And so they make you sign a waiver because if you die, it is not their fault. It is your fault.
How do they not have guardrails set up or something?
Well, there are guardrails, but I mean, like if you're going at max speed on this golf cart and like you just ram a damn rail or something, yeah, I mean, like it might just propel you over the ledge or whatever it might be. But
I would still make you sign a waiver, but I feel like we should be able to design guardrails that could stop golf carts.
Yes, I agree with all that. They were trying to make it scenic, though, Kelly. They build it into the cliff and the whatever, and trying to make it not so.
Plus, plus about just the marketing of it. You just talking about for 2 minutes about how you had to sign a waiver makes it that much cooler.
It is. It was cool. It was cool. I highly recommend the trip if you can make it there. But as we know, Scottie Scheffler gets it done. The guy's just the best golfer on the planet. There's no if, and, or buts about that. We will, be doing this again next year and probably the year after that and the year after that, so long as he doesn't face any sort of injury. And actually, Wes, he did face an injury and he's still doing it. He sliced his hand open and whatever. He did face an injury and he's still doing it.
I'm just watching over the weekend and I'm like, does this guy ever freaking miss an iron? Ever? Like when he misses, I think he's maybe 20 to 22 feet. When he hits a pretty good solid one, he's about 10 to 15. And then, there were so many times he had it to like 6 feet and in for birdie. And that's what's going to lead you to lead the field in approach and lead the field in strokes gained putting. If you lead in those two categories and you don't win, even if it's a major championship, then there's probably something wrong. So Scottie Scheffler at 450 gets it done again, cruises to a 4-shot victory. My only guy that I thought really had a chance over the weekend was Matt Fitzpatrick, and then he kind of went away a little bit on Saturday when everybody was carding red figures. About Harris English, 2 times he finished as runner-up to Scottie Scheffler in majors this year. Also was runner-up at the PGA. Chris Gotterup, very good follow-up at the Genesis Scottish Open with that win with the 3rd-place finish. And then Wyndham Clark, Matt Fitzpatrick, Halton Lee were top 5. McIntyre, Schauffele, McIlroy rounded out the top 10.
Kelly, we talked about it a little bit on a numbers game this morning, but actually not a bad tournament for me just because the guys that I did play finished inside the top 20. And, again, that helps out, and a couple of them top 10. So it is what it is. Not a huge winner. It's just not a massive loser like the last major was. And so all in all, not that bad. But again, it's a conversation we're just going to be having in perpetuity with Scottie Scheffler. The dude is just that guy. He is that good. He is that much better than all of the best players in the world, and that is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice tournament for me. A bunch of top 20s matchups. All those got home for the most part. I had DeChambeau blow up one matchup on Sunday, but that was about it.
I had the same one against Fleetwood, I think. So all of a sudden, Bryson DeChambeau was 7 over on day one. It's like, man, if he was just like even par on Thursday, we would have had a classic here in the Open that would have been like Stenson Mickelson years ago at Troon when they kind of lapped the field. But yeah, same thing for me. Small winner with placements, and just got out while the getting was good. But none of us, I don't think, had Scottie for the win. On and we all feel like dumb when it's like, why didn't we bet this guy? But it's like, man, do I really want to bet like a 350 or a 4-1 to win a major championship when it's a different style of golf, and I didn't, and now he's figured out links golf, so that's great.
I'll tell you where I do feel stupid, and it was only because I had already made my bets because it was, I got in stuff a little bit earlier, but when he didn't just light up the Scottish, there were books that he drifted to 6-1, and I'm like, okay. At that point, I should have been like, this is absurd. Okay, he had one tournament in which he didn't just go light it up, and we're going to now drift him all the way out to 6-1, and like that. That's where I do feel stupid. But I'd already made my bets, and there's I put it at 6-1, and then I basically have to hit it to make any money. So
right, that's the problem. Is you already had multiple bets in anyways. I mean, that's where, like, we were talking about this a bit on the numbers game, but it's these majors we're almost always going to have a couple in pocket already by the time we get to week of. So it makes it a little bit more limited what you can do outright wise, betting wise, the week of the tournament, and then frankly, like this was a great tournament. You take away, half of the crappy outright bets I made, earlier. Like this would have been a really good tournament for not hitting a winner. But yeah, I mean, Wes put it perfectly. Scheffler's going to do that with irons and a putter. Like everybody's toast. You're all screwed.
Wes, it's 2 years in a row now, and so like heading into next year, if we're we're still doing this podcast or whatever, I want to. I'm not going to play, especially in the big tournaments. Maybe the smaller tournaments where it's like there's a little less incentive. Like I'm not going to play the markets that aren't the winner without Scottie. I mean, like his win equity is just so ridiculously high, and it's only costed you like $4 to not to play the winner without Mark. Like I mean, that'd have been a nice cash on everybody that finished in second. Like anyone that was second to fifth, if you'd have had any sort of right. Those guys or something like. Who cares if you're getting 4 points less? Like, Scottie Scheffler's win equity is so freaking high that, like, okay, shave off 4 points from me, and I'll just play the winner without market, and then I at least have real sweats come Sunday. Because I don't know about y'all, I'm pretty sure you felt the same way. Like, I knew on Saturday he was winning the tournament. Like, I was like, why did they even show up? And sure as shit on Sunday, he shows up with a 4-stroke lead. I'm like, these guys don't even need to go play today. I mean, like, he is not losing this lead. He's going to win this tournament, and so absolutely zero sweat for me whatsoever in it because I knew 100% Scottie was going to win. So I think I'm going to change my strategy a little bit next year for like the bigger tournaments where it means more to him and he shows out. I'm not going to leave myself dead on Sundays anymore.
I got asked a question by our colleague and friend at VSiN, Tim Murray, on his program over the weekend, and he kind of asked me a little bit about Tiger. Wasn't necessarily making a Tiger to Scottie comparison, but just in terms of a betting, it's like, because it seemed like maybe before we were betting or maybe when we were getting early into golf betting, that was kind of the end of Tiger's run, right? But because it's like, it felt like we all enjoyed it. We all enjoyed seeing what Tiger Woods did, and it's not that we dislike Scottie. Like, Scottie's a perfectly affable guy, good family man. There's nothing really to dislike about him. Is the fact that he's kicking our ass when we don't have any position on him. So I'm like, I enjoyed Tiger's run a lot more than I'm enjoying Scottie's right now because I'm being stubborn and trying to figure out how to beat him and how I can get around it, and still haven't found that way, even though some weeks you get some profit with placement markets. But I mean, I've never really been a big fan of the without Scottie market, but I probably have to change. You always have to make adjustments, I think, as a bettor and as a handicapper, and you have to adjust to the surroundings around you. And right now, this guy's getting it done, so you have to take that in consideration now, and not be stubborn and put your habits aside a little bit.
You still have to math it out, though, because like we've talked about those markets, and some of them are so wildly different. Like sometimes it's just going to be smarter to bet more in the top five, right? Like with your outright with the top five. Sometimes it's going to be. I mean, if you have each way betting available to you, obviously that would be the route to go. But it's wild. We've now hit the point. Rick Gaiman put this out earlier, but we've now hit the point where if you bet on him every single tournament that he's teed it up this year, you're up money. And his longest odds were this past week at 4-1.
And this is one thing to say. Like, and again, I will give the free plug here. But if you live in a Bet365 state, you need to seriously consider starting to move a lot of your golf action over there where they do let you have each ways. And because I mean, if we had each way betting, that would be my preferred way of going about all of this and everything, especially in the Scottie Scheffler era. Yeah, sure, there would be there would be tournaments without him where I'm just betting straight outrights and all the things like that. But yeah, if you live in a Bet365 state, it is certainly something I would start to consider pretty heavily with all of that. And we've mentioned it here on the broadcast multiple different times. I was just fortunate enough. We don't live in a DFS state, but my trip in Missouri did have it. And so since I didn't have exposure to Scottie through betting, I just made like 30 teams and I had 100% Scheffler. I had Scheffler on every single team. I had all 30 teams. And then just mix and match and stuff like along there. And so you can get exposure that way as well. But I just think it might be foolish to be totally naked to Scottie moving forward in these big tournaments. Like some sort of something. Because he ain't winning. He's in the top 10 every single time. Like every single time he's in the top 10. So just something to take with us as we head into next year. But guys, we are going to a tournament that is not as star-studded, and we do. But
he's not here. He's not here in Minneapolis,
and we don't have to worry about Scottie Scheffler here in the 3M West. We have an odds board that if you looked at it, people would be like, "Wait a minute, this is." And actually, this actually happened this morning to Kelly, in which he was contacted by the staff over at VSiN and thought that perhaps maybe the odds weren't getting pulled correctly. And it's like, no. Chris Gotterup is actually your favorite for this tournament. Him and Sam Burns, Mav McNeely, and then it goes down to Wyndham Clark, Max Grazerman, Taylor Pendrith, Michael Jordan-Bornson, Jake Knapp. Like, Kelly, look at the odds board. It's guys we've bet all year long. It is never guys we've bet at 18-1 or 20-1 or 30-1. Like, these are usually the guys we're like, hey, they got pretty good form. But, and at 60-1, I really like them. Or at 54-1, I really like them. You got a 35-1 on Knapp this week. You got a 30 on Pendrith this week, a 28 on Grazerman. So just understand you guys are going to be betting guys that you have bet all season long, and you are going to be getting a fraction of the odds on all that. But, hey, that's just that's the way it goes sometimes. I just can't even. With guys like, Burns and Gotterup, it's deserved, man. Like, we're going to get into it a bit, but, like, geez, these guys have been playing so well. Like, Gotterup's all of a sudden – he's become who's my guy with the shades? Ben Griffin. Like, he's like the new, like, all of a sudden, like the Ben Griffin, like coming, like it's green everywhere the past several tournaments, and he won't stop. Like, anybody think he was gonna end up finishing that high at the damn Open? Like, or what the hell?
Yeah,
coming
around.
I was gonna say 2 themes to this field this week. One, Ryder Cup bubble boys. And that's why you're seeing Sam Burns and Matt McNeely and Wyndham Clark and Chris Gotterup, because they're kind of on that back end. The top guys, I think, know that they're on the team. Keegan Bradley had those notes. Bryson DeChambeau pretty much now locked into the team if there was any discussion or concern about that. But, it feels like the top 8, top 9 are on the team, but these guys are right in the mix maybe for the back end spots. So that's why they're here this week. And then another reason, it is FedEx Cup time now. Now that all the majors are done, the focus turns to that. And got to get in that top 70 to get in that first event. So you have this week, and I believe the Wyndham, and then we are into the FedEx Cup. So a lot of guys scrambling to, get inside the 70 or get inside the 100 to keep some of their playing privileges. So that's something else to look at.
Yeah, and Kelly, it's one of those deals where these.
I was like, why is
deals where. What's that?
I was like, why is the WNBA time flashing at me? I got distracted. Sorry.
Don't get distracted. Come on, stay with us.
I don't know what moved.
The interesting deal here. Are you talking about over my shoulder? Is that what you're talking about?
No. I'd never seen that on DraftKings before, where it had a flashing red light next to the WNBA. I thought it was like live or something. It was there game live.
I thought you were talking about my little deal right here. The little.
No, you're okay. Yeah, you're okay.
That's a cool little. It was I don't know.
It's like
little crawl.
What are we getting?
Never looked at it. like ever.
We're getting Caitlin Clark. Daniel LaRusso is going to fight, so she is going to play. That's the only reason for that screen to flash.
Yeah, that's what's going on there. All right, so Wes, this is the 3M Open. We talked about the field already. Let's talk a little bit about the course.
Yeah, TPC Twin Cities up there in Minneapolis, St. Paul, in Blaine, Minnesota, 13 miles north of Minneapolis. Designed in 2000 by Arnold Palmer, Tom Lehman, who's a Minnesota native, also consulted on this course. So it is a TPC course, par 71 of 74.31. It's a little bit like a course that you would see in Florida, though, because there's a ton of water on this course. 27 water hazards and over 13 holes. It is an easy course, so you're going to be able to score low here, but you got to avoid the water, and I think that's an important thing, and we'll get to that when we get into our stats. The bunkers were all rebuilt after a heavy storm they had a couple years ago, 72 of them on course. Fairways, 35 yards on average, so pretty wide landing zones, bent grass, firm and fast, a lot of rollout. There is going to be, by the way, some rain this week, so it may soften the course, but it's probably going to be very firm and fast throughout. Bluegrass fescue rough. So this is kind of thick rough, actually, for an easier course at 4 inches. But the greens are big, 6,500 square feet, 12.5 on the stint, pure bent grass. So, eventually this turns into a putting contest, and this is kind of a ball striker's paradise. There is a quote. Hollis Kavner was the tournament founder here at the 3M Open in 2019. And when they asked how they wanted the tournament to play, he said, "We want birdies and train wrecks. We don't want to be the hardest golf course on tour." So you're going to get a lot of birdies, but you're going to get a lot of water balls too. So that can create some chaos at the end, at least on Sunday.
Yeah, that is basically just going to be the theme of this. You're going to have guys go incredibly low, and you're going to have guys in the mix come Sunday, and you just have to pray that they don't drive the ball in the water. And that's kind of how this is all going to play out this week. I expect there to be some heartbreak for somebody holding a nice outright ticket because of somebody finding the water in an untimely fashion, but that's just the nature of this course. That's why I think probably when we start to do the statistics and stuff that we looked for me, I did a little bit of distance, but a lot of, I did a lot of good drive percentage. I did a lot of looking at guys that are, distance from the edge of the fairway type stuff. I also looked at just the total driving as well to see who is long and accurate as well in this thing, because to me, that's really going to change all of this. I'm not going to say approach isn't something we like approach every single week. I'm not going to say that I de-emphasized approach, but again, this could be a course where a lot of guys, so long as you can keep it in the fairway, you're going to have some really good approach opportunities. And so I have it in the model. I just didn't go nuts with it in the model. I kind of just emphasized the approach stuff on opportunities gained with the statistics. So that's kind of where I'm at. Kelly, where did you, I should also say little strokes gained easy on easy courses, just to kind of as a separator. And with the par fives playing as easy as they play, I did put in some strokes gained par five, mainly as a tiebreaker to see who's, if I really like five guys and they're the last one on my card, I'll probably swing to the dude who, is a little bit better on the par fives. That's where a lot of the scoring is going to take place. But that's pretty much the model for me this week, though.
Yeah, it was, the par five scoring. I had that in there as well. It's important. I think that'll be important this week. The long par fives, too. But all of them should be reachable for most of these guys. And two, it's, I love this. I love this event. I think every year after the Open, I think it's the perfect just segue, move along back to the PGA Tour, because it is, look, it's going to be fire some outrights, cover it with some top fives, and hold on to your butts, right? Because it is, we know guys are going to go low. Like you said, Matt, you're going to be yelling at your TV when someone goes into the water on Sunday. It's going to happen. This is I can tell you who
it's going to be. It's going to be Sam Burns. I can tell you exactly who it's going to be. Sam Burns is going to be up by 2 on Sunday, like heading to hole 7 or something. You're going to be like, oh shit, I'm going to win with Sam Burns. And he's just going to fire it right in the wall. That's exactly what's going to happen. I can tell you who it is.
I always love I love the comp of it's an easier PGA National, and like that's really what it is. These are some of the easiest greens to putt on. So it is. I hear you. The accuracy off the tee matters. I did factor that in, but we're talking 35-yard fairways. These guys have been playing through some much tougher courses off the tee recently. This is grip it, rip it, put this thing as close to the pin as possible, and make some putts on easy greens all you got to do is just not hit it in the water and blow up your whole tournament. So I love watching this tournament every year. I think it's a fun one. You get some random winners. You get some long bob winners. As far as what I did stat-wise, I mean, it's a ton of ball striking stats. Off the tee, good drives accuracy, distance, which I factored in. I mean, we look at who's won here over the past several years. These are long hitters. I mean, Johnny Vegas, Tony Finau, Cameron Champ, Matthew Wolff. I mean, these are big-time drivers of the golf ball. So I did factor in distance maybe a little heavier. Approach, and then proximity, 175 to 200 and 200 plus. That 200 plus covers three of the par threes, I believe, are over 200 yards. So I always use that as kind of a half-ass way of covering something like that. Opportunities gained, birdies are better. The par fives you talked about, Matt. Bogey avoidance, which is just kind of weird to throw in there with the rest of these stats, but you're just hoping for that means, keep out of the water bogey avoidance. And then I did do a little bit of putting, just regular strokes gained putting. I know they're on bent grass this week. I just went with regular strokes gained putting though for a little bit with these guys. Everybody's been playing on different greens. That's kind of in this field here recently. And I did like the putting from 5 to 10 feet. You go out there and you can make some 8-footers all week. You're going to be in a really, really good position. So that was pretty much everything I plugged in, but heavy on the ball striking stuff.
Wes, anything differently for you?
Not as much. I'm glad Kelly mentioned PGA National, though, because some of the correlated courses, PGA National, Deer Run, where the John Deere is, Detroit, which has the Rocket Mortgage Classic, a lot of the other TPC-type courses, TPC Louisiana, I think if you're looking at course correlations. But, look, I've had heartbreak and great things in this tournament. Great thing last year was with Johnny Vegas, which we hit. And then Kelly mentioned Matthew Wolff, which took out my Bryson DeChambeau ticket when Bryson made eagle at the 18, and then Matthew Wolff hits a bomb off the green. That was the first year of this event in 2019. Also makes an eagle on top of him and wins the event. So you've had some big prices win here, though. So this is a wide open field. Approach, of course, I used ball striking to kind of combine driving and approach where I didn't want to wait one maybe bigger than the other. Ball striking, by the way, is calculated, at least the PGA Tour definition, is total driving, which is distance plus accuracy, plus greens and regulation rank. And these greens are big, but I just wanted an overall ball striker that I felt, was going to get it from point A to point B and give him a chance to make putts, and I think that'll show that. Good drive percentage is something I use, birdie or better, like you guys. Bogey avoidance, strokes gained, easy scoring conditions. I didn't do much with the proximity buckets, even though about half of them are going to be 175 yards or longer, because this is a 7,400-yard course with some big par fives, long par threes, like Kelly mentioned. But I didn't really go all that deep. I go deeper in other tournaments, but not here, because I think that there's just a lot of randomness and variance in this tournament. And you're going to have a couple of the guys that are short prices contend, and then a couple bombs contend. So that's what I looked at this week, at least for the 3M.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. This will be a good kind of discussion for us here, because I tended, because I think there's going to be enough of the middle to tier guys to get in. I want to be like on one of them, so I kind of lived in that range, but I'm curious to see where y'all ended up. So Kelly, you throw all of that into the model, and you end up with what?
A lot of great ball strikers at the top of my model. I haven't gotten to any pets yet. I will have everything up at VSiN.com once I get things in. But I'll tell you, Grazerman, I'll be back betting for sure. I'll be on him. Been betting him a fair amount here over the past couple months. 2 missed cuts when we're talking the Open and Scottish Open. But I'll be fine forgetting those with him really not having much experience over in Europe. That's fine. Come back to the U.S. Where his numbers were just awesome heading into a T2 at the Rocket Classic, a bunch of T25s in the couple months leading up to that, and was just getting it done everywhere, on approach, off the tee, even with the putter in a few of them. So I'll be on him. Jake Knapp, I've been on a bunch recently. The putter's hot right now, which is really carrying him. T22 with the Scottish, T21 at the John Deere Classic, T4 at the Rocket, T27 the Canadian, gaining almost across the board. I will have some type of Jake Knapp exposure as well. The one guy I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to go back to the well for possibly the final time this season. Kevin Yu, definitely on my short list to check out more. And then I'll make sure I want to share this one. I don't know if I can go to 18-1, but it is the Ben Griffin conversation with Chris Goddard. I mean, at what point am I supposed to stop ignoring this? It is green across the board of what he's done. I don't know if any of us were expecting him to go over to Europe and do what he's done the past couple weeks. I mean, it's incredible. So I don't know if I can get there in 18-1, but at the same time, in this type of field, this type of event, with what's required out of the players that we think is important, I don't know how I'm not getting some type of exposure to Chris Goddard. So haven't finalized the card yet. Everything will be up at VSiN.com. I think Doug Gims stuck out to me as well, but if you had $1 for every time you've heard Doug Gims' name on this podcast, you'd be richer than us who bet Doug Gims, that's for sure. So that's kind of where I'm looking at right now, Matt.
Wes, what ended up in your account so far?
Well, we'll start off with one that Kelly mentioned, actually. I did play Kevin Yu at 50-1. 4 top 25s, last 8 starts. The putter's usually weak, but he's gained strokes on the greens in 7 of his 8 last starts. Top 5 really over the last couple months. He was right there in Canada to win. So Kevin Yu, I did play at 50-1, but I started off the card. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Matt.
he was 13th overall in the average of my models. He was 14th in one, 12th in the other, and dead 13th in the third. So he's a solid top 15 in the model for me.
Yeah. So Kevin Yu did make my card, and I think placement market probably in order as well to what you mentioned, Matt. But I started with the guy that sounds like he's a Minnesota boy, even though he was born in Cleveland and raised in Massachusetts. Michael Chorbornson. Doesn't he sound like a Minnesota boy? At 35-1 now, I think in the market he's about 30, but he's had some near misses, and I've been on him in a couple of those near misses. I had him at Corrales where he finished runner-up. I had him at the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit a few weeks ago where he was 1 out of the playoff, but consistent golf, and he's gone well in these like birdie fest, low-scoring events in the Midwest before. Remember, he was the runner-up at the John Deere last year, 1 out of the playoff, as I just mentioned, in Detroit. So he's going to be popular this week, but I'm not going to shy away because he's popular. So Michael Chorbornson at 35-1. Kurt Kitayama, 40-1. He was 6th here on debut. He is currently, and I mentioned the FedEx Cup consideration earlier, 110th in the FedEx Cup standings. And that's why he was in the Barracuda and not in the Open Championship last week. 5th at the John Deere a couple weeks ago, 14th at the Barracuda. Sometimes these guys make late runs, and the sense of urgency, I think, really hits them in these last few events before we get started. So Kurt Kitayama, 40-1. A guy that did pop a lot on my motto. In terms of ball striking, this guy's actually ahead of Scottie Scheffler. When you look at ball striking, total driving plus greens and regulation. That seems impossible, but it has happened, and he's number 1, and that is Rico Hoey, who I bet at 60-1. 8th at the Barracuda last week, 11th at the Deere, 2 starts before. He's kind of been knocking at the door a little bit, so I played Rico at 60. Andrew Putnam, 70-1. Top 20 here last 2 times he's played this event. 11th at the Barracuda, 8th last month at Detroit, 6th in Canada. Andrew Putnam, 70-1. And then one that really didn't pop on any type of model, but I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble here, and that's Tom Hoge at 100-1. 4th here in 2022. He's still as solid as ever on approach. He's dipped a little bit, but he's still like top 20 on approach. So that tells you how good he is. Like, he's always up there on approach. But the other metrics have taken a little bit of a dip, primarily to the fact that this guy's been playing like all majors and signature events pretty much. So yeah, he's not up there contending week in and week out because he's not that caliber of a player. But he is the caliber of a player that could maybe win or at least show this week on the first page of the leaderboard. So it's kind of a horse racing analogy where it's drop in class, right? And I think that's what this is for Tom Hoge at 100-1. And then Victor Perez, who I got at 125. I still think he's got some triple digits out there. He's trying to improve that FedEx Cup positioning, 106th. Right now in the standings, 8th on tour overall in ball striking. A couple others I considered. I was going to play Ben Coles, who was like all over the place on the model this week, but he withdrew last week at the Barracuda, and I was searching feverishly to see why. And there was no reason given, so I don't know if there's an injury. So that might be something where I play him at like top 30 or top 40. I don't know if I could really get there on the outright when he withdrew. But Ben Coles was somebody that really appeared a lot, when I was going through. Of course, the obvious ones, Goddard and those guys. Lee Hodges, who, of course, has won here before. Ricky Castillo and Kevin Roy were near misses for me that you can get a little bit in that mid-range. And then, of course, like I mentioned, Goddard, Knapp, Grazerman, they all appeared, but just didn't get there on the outrights. Probably will play placements.
Yeah, Roy and you, the last two off of my card, but that doesn't mean that they won't figure out some way to make it on there for me. I'll just go straight down the model this week because I'll admit I was a little bit of a slave to the model. I want a guy that profiles well for this, and I went in and tried to the guys that I wanted to nitpick, I nitpicked, and then I was able to get rid of some of those for the reason. But the dude that was the number one overall in my model, when you average things out, and it's easy because he was one across the board, is in fact Rico Hoey. Like, he was literally number one in the model for me. Really great off the tee. Good approach numbers, birdie or better percentage. If you want some dudes that have that in the bag, that is also there for him. He's inside the top 20 in strokes gained par 5 over the last 36 rounds as well. Driving distance, he's got plenty of that at 316 if we care about that. And oh, by the way, Rico Hoey's really good on easy courses. And so this is, if we're saying it's going to be an easy course, then let me go with that guy. So Rico Hoey, again, number one in the model for me, and has to be a bet for sure whenever you get the type of number you do on him. Number two in the model, Cam Champ. Cam Champ makes the card again this week. Of course, he's going to profile well whenever we start to look at what we want from a driving distance standpoint. But one of the things that I thought was interesting for him is if you start to look at recent form here, the irons are a little bit better. Bogey avoidance, 7th in this field over the last 36 rounds. He is dialed it back a little bit. He's not making as many mistakes. And for me, something I found very important this week is who's going to not go out there and give it back, And so give me Cam Champ, who on the good drive percentage for a bomber, 26th in the last 36 rounds, 2nd in total driving. So, hey, a guy that bombs and also hits it straight and has been better with the irons lately. I will take Cam Champ as well.
And a guy that's won here before. He won here in 2021, so you can never not make a case for former winners here. He won, beat Oosthuizen, Schwartzel, and Johnny Vegas by 2 at 15 under par.
One of the phrases you've heard Kelly mention throughout the course of this podcast, kind of green across the board, whenever we talk about, all the stats that we put into the model, and they start out at a very faint green, and the darker green they get, the better it is. But as long as they're green, that means they are good comparatively to this field. And that gets me to Patrick Fishburne, who is actually green.
I looked at him.
Yeah, who is green across the board for me. Averaged out at 7th overall in the different models that I ran this week. And maybe look into him a little bit differently. And, hey, look, over 310 off the tee, good there. Inside the top 15 in bogey avoidance, not going to give him back when he does make them. You go in off the tee, even though he's not, one of the longest guys, but he's 16th in strokes gained off the tee. So he does well with what he's been doing inside the top 35 in strokes gained on approach and different things like that. And I didn't put it into the model, but if you do go in and look at who does putt well on bent grass, he's also in the top 25 in that as well. Just some other stuff to like about Patrick Fishburne. The model also loved Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard makes the card for me this week. Not quite green across the board as over the last 36 rounds, 72nd off the tee in this field, but everything else was really, really good. Another guy that has played easy courses much better. So like these dudes that have a little bit of that, hey, I'm going to go out and tear up the good. I can't get it done on the hard courses, but I can go out there on your typical course and get it done. Of course, good drive percentage. Mark Hubbard, 21st. You look at the birdie or better gained inside the top 20 as well for him there. Two more for me, and these are a little bit longer. But hey, Vince Whaley, a guy I don't know if we bet on the.
We've bet Whaley before. Dude's long, man. Dude bombs.
Have we bet him? Have we bet him for an outright? I didn't know we had done that, but
I definitely haven't. But we have brought his name up before. And don't worry, I am currently, as Matt's breaking down, I am constructing you the long shots all-star card for this week.
Yes, the only problem, and it is a problem for sure, with Whaley, is he fits every one of the boxes except for the accuracy stuff. And so I basically need him to not spray it. The good drive percentage, 90th over the last 36 rounds in the field. He is 76th in total driving in this field, which we don't love at all. So he is far from green across the board because he is way down, actually, in that whole accuracy part of it. But everything else is really good. So it's kind of like, all right, dude, can you figure it out for 4 rounds? Can you not look like me on the tee box for 4 rounds and get it done? So Vince Whaley, by the way, as high as like 11th in one of the models that I ran.
He was in the mix 2 weeks ago at the ISCO, which was the alternate event for the Scottish Open down in Louisville. I think he was actually maybe in the final pair in the second group. But a guy, William Mao, by the way, shot 9 under to finish 10 under overall in the tournament and win that event at the ISCO. Our boy Ryan Gerard, by the way, who we have back frequently, of course, fair to mention, winner at the Barracuda last week, which I did not know.
Yeah, cool.
Where's he at?
Yeah.
Is he in the field this week? Why didn't he pop? He pops
I don't know if
every
he
week.
has to be now. Now it's like, hey, I'm a winner on tour. Maybe I can take a week
Oh
off.
yeah, he's not playing. Yeah, he's not playing.
He took the week. Yeah, he's like he's drunk as hell right now, Kelly. He's on a boat somewhere.
Oh, man.
But I rounded
totally
out
missed
with
the
another
Gerard
guy
win.
that fits the whole Vince Whaley profile, which is like green everywhere except for the accuracy standpoint of stuff. And let's hope he can just get it together. And it's a bomb anyway. So, hey, we can afford to take a guy that's not a well-rounded golfer whenever we play these bombs and hope that they can spike. But David Skins is the last guy to make the card for me. Inside the top 20 in every version of the model that I ran. And like considering the fact that he is 74th on average good drive percentage in the field, 84th total driving and all that. And as much as I emphasized that, the fact that he still finished that high is pretty impressive for me. So the model really liked everything else that I liked in all of this, just not what he does from an accuracy standpoint. But hey, Kelly, if he can hit the fairways, 8th overall in this field in opportunities gained, so he's going to give himself a good look. But let's just hope he can keep it out of the water. Probably won't, but it's a giant number attached. So, again, this is like we take some shots on the giant number dudes, and really, model loved him everywhere except for the accuracy standpoint. I'll deal with it because if he can find fairways, he's going to give himself birdie opportunities. So give me David Skins to round it out. So Hoey, Champ, Fishburne, Hubbard, Whaley, and Skins for me this week. But I really like Wes's Kevin Yu play. Like I said, first guy off the card for me. And Roy also a very high, popped a ton. I'll say it just because people are going to be like, what about Keith Mitchell? Yes, Keith Mitchell was high and all. I'm not betting.
Come on, you ruined it. All right, hold on.
I'm doing it. I'm saying, listen, I'm not going to lie to people. Yes, he's like 8th or better in every mile. But I'm not betting. He's a loser. He is a loser. He is Tommy Fleetwood. He's the American Tommy Fleetwood. He's a loser.
Oh my God,
he can't win.
All right. Pump the brakes because I've assembled the all long shots all-star team that has lost us so much money betting outrights over the past 2 years. I don't know that you could do worse than these fellas. However, every name has been mentioned so far on this podcast. All of us I've bet every single one of these people multiple times over the past 2 years. And they all rated out highly for me as well, too. So maybe if you want to have some fun this week, this could be the week to get it done. But here it is. Kevin Yu, Keith Mitchell, Doug Gim, Rico Hoey, and Kurt Kitayama. Yes. Any person, Wes or Matt or myself, that tells you we have not bet these guys multiple times to win golf tournaments in the past 2 years is lying to your face. We've lost money, but this could be the week one of those guys gets it done.
It was for Johnny Vegas last year, so sometimes you got to stick with him.
Kevin Yu has a W. He's got a W on his career somewhere.
Yeah,
I wasn't on it. Yeah.
We just need Cam Young though for Wes. Like we
forgot about that.
Yeah, we just need Cam Young. Why is he taking the week off?
Yeah, maybe he's given up hope just like we all have.
Where the hell is he?
It's like, I'm not going to make the Ryder Cup team.
Keith Mitchell's numbers haven't been as impressive as honestly I'd expect heading into a tournament like this week. But this golf course was like designed for Keith Mitchell. If he can't get it done here, Matt, he's never winning on the PGA Tour ever.
Keith Mitchell, by the way, has won at PGA National. Remember, he won years ago.
Ever again. Sorry, yes. He won at PGA National. Good call. I forgot about that.
So there's your correlation here.
It is. I mean,
I'm going to have multiple of these names, and then I'm going to be mad at whoever wins that I didn't bet. Like Kurt Kitayama's going to win this week or something. That won't be the guy that I bet.
that would really.
Wes
piss
will be
me off.
celebrating.
That would really piss me off if he did. Like, I mean, I'd be good for Wes. It's going to piss me off though, because that guy, I bet him a ton. I bet him a lot.
We all have, because the ball striking numbers are ridiculous. Like, oh great, he's third in my
We
ball.
all remember when he won. We all remember when he won at Bay Hill at a big price and held off like every good player at the time. Held off Rory, held off Cantlay, held off Spieth. Like all these guys, he held off, and it's like, okay, now he's playing with the top class of players, and then he never appears again.
If you're playing DFS,
I hope
what's that, Kelly?
Sorry, I was just going to say, I hope one of these guys secretly listens to this podcast, and I just motivated the hell out of them this week. Yeah. Like, screw those guys. I'll show them.
If you're playing DFS, some cheap guys that modeled well for me. Wes already mentioned Ben Coles. He modeled well for me. Nick Hardy modeled pretty well for me. Chandler Phillips also is super cheap in DFS and modeled pretty well. Chris Kirk is like 7,100.
Chris Kirk
in DFS. He finished like in the top 25 of a couple of the different versions out there. So if you want to try to go a little off the beaten path for some of those names to round out your lineups, I don't know if they'll be very popular or not, but they all did. Chan Kim, also another guy that modeled at least decently for me. He's sub 7,000 out there in the DFS streets if you guys are playing over there at DraftKings this week. So that's where we're at right now. Again, find Kelly, if you're catching this on Wednesday morning, over on A Numbers Game, Kelly will give out his full card over there. And of course on VSiN.com, if you're not a pro subscriber already, go in. We're running a special right now, $175. Everything we do now until the Super Bowl, and that includes the college football betting guide, which is actually coming out pretty soon. Probably the most valuable thing we do, actually, because you don't have any idea. You don't have any idea who plays where, and you don't know what coach is where, what quarterback is where, and all anymore. Like the transfer portal and all the stuff like that, you don't know. So probably the most valuable thing we do.
I did the Big Ten, by the way. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm not Wes Reynolds. I don't know every damn sport. So Matt's right. Like it is honestly for me one of probably the most valuable thing we do at VSiN.
I had to do the Big Ten, by the way, for the guide, which will be coming out early August, and it was a chore. I was like, man, there's a lot of teams in this conference, and that's my conference. It's like, how many more teams do we want to put in here? 18 teams, by the way, in the Big Ten, and there are a lot of guys where it's like, I didn't know he transferred. So doing the research, you figured it out, and we got it all done for you.
Considering there's 18 teams in the Big Ten, maybe we should get to a point where you have to be in the Big Ten, and then or you risk relegation.
Ooh,
right?
Relegated.
The little 10.
You could still call it the Big Ten, but it's but then you need to be in the top 10 and whatever. I would like that. That'd be fun if they could figure out
the Big 10 and the other 10. So it's not
or whatever. Yeah, something like that. That'd be great. All right, guys, appreciate you being with us here yet again. If you haven't done so already, subscribe, rate, review. We do appreciate all of those. I know we don't say it all the time on the podcast, but really and truly we do appreciate those. So if you take the 5 seconds to go ahead and do that, that does help us climb the charts and more people can find this very here podcast. For Wes, for Kelly, I am Matt. Good luck on all your 3M bets.
I got a thing to play. Here it comes. It's coming.
There it is.
Kevin Yu, Keith Mitchell,
Frickin' Doug Jim.
Rico Hoey, and Chris.